Well, let's turn our attention onto another company that published results today. It's investment holding company Bidvest. It reported a 5% increase in interim profit. Now, this was largely due to a strong performance at its food service unit and favorable currency swings. The company makes more than half of its sales overseas, where its revenue increased by nearly 17%. My colleague Bronwyn Nielsen sat down with the company CEO Joffe and started by asking him about the challenges Bidvest is facing in South Africa.
Firstly, I must say these results aren't the best we've ever had, but maybe not the worst either. So there were a few factors that influenced the performance, and they were to some degree a little outside of our control. I mean, the big ones were the mark-to-market of our insurance portfolio, the assets in the insurance portfolio. So that affected us by 3 or 4 percentage points. We had Adcock, which negatively impacted us by 3 odd percentage points. So, if we added all it and everything had gone right, we would have had a reasonably good result. I think our overseas businesses did particularly well, and certain of the businesses in South Africa, which were more annuity-based, did particularly well as well. But South Africa, we did face some headwinds in South Africa, and one can make excuses. I think the real big issue for everybody in South Africa is to learn from the lessons of today so we don't repeat them tomorrow.
Are you concerned about the outlook for South Africa, given crumbling infrastructure? And I'm moving here beyond just the electricity story.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are speculating about, a declining infrastructure, but, I don't have really first-hand knowledge. I mean, you can see it in Johannesburg. The traffic lights just don't work. I mean, it's, everybody can see it, and I don't understand why that should be. And so there are, it's visible in many instances, but from a business point of view, we got what we got, and we as a business have to manage what as best we can within the framework. I just want to say that it's not necessarily the government policies that are bad. I think that the issues are the implementation of some of those policies are not being implemented well.
Before we move off South Africa, are you confident that the leadership we have at a government level is going to be able to take us smoothly through the next couple of years?
I don't think anything about South Africa over the next few years will be smooth. And I don't think we should expect it to be necessarily smooth. I mean, we're going through a transition, and no transition is ever smooth. So there are good parts and there are bad parts. I think the biggest issue, as I'm repeating myself a little, is that we could do a lot better with the implementation, and most importantly, that we should learn the lessons of yesterday today. Otherwise, when we come down the line in 5 years' time and we're still going back and blaming the past, it's not going to be a happy story.
Amended BEE codes are going to prove to be somewhat of a headache. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, they are going to be a headache, and I think we're all going to be faced with what we get. Transition is obviously a necessity. Unfortunately, I think that we don't and haven't been able to find a methodology which is a good methodology. I think all of the implementation, all the BEE transition issues really to some degree haven't amounted to much. We've got a lot of people, a lot of money that's been created and earned for BEE, which has gone to very few people. So the spread of the activity hasn't been great. And I think worst of all is that I don't think we've created a sufficient number of entrepreneurs managing the money that's been created as maybe we could have.
How are you going to navigate the headache that comes with the amended BEE codes? I mean, this is going to take a lot of work.
Well, I think everybody's in the same boat, so I think it's a relative game. We obviously as a company are working towards proper transition, but it takes time. I mean, the skills transfer, money transfer is an easier one. The skills transfer is the more complicated one, and we're working hard at that, but we have successes and we have some failures along the way too.
Talk to me about Adcock Ingram and the minority offer at 52 Rand a share. You've stated that you don't want 100% of Adcock Ingram, and this is basically a technicality that has led to the offer to minorities.
Well, it's not so much that we don't want 100%. I think it's just unrealistic to expect to get 100% at 52 Rand. So, I mean, the 52 Rand results out of trying to maximize the benefits to the exiting current BEE shareholders. and at the same time being fair to everybody else. So we are working at that. But having said that, I think we as Bidvest do want to be able to play a more influential role at Adcock over some time, and we obviously have got some proposals out there which hopefully will give us the ability to get there.
Are you expecting a positive response to the minority offer?
Well, you're talking about in shares being tendered to us? No, I don't think so, but I mean, one doesn't know. These things are open for some months, you know, the process, the market could change, who knows. But if the share price remains above the market, above the offer price, it's unlikely we'll get anything.
People are going to hang on for better days.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I don't know. Some people may decide that this is an opportunity to get rid of a volume of shares, and others may say, listen, it's an opportunity to stay with it.
You've been quoted as saying that you believe the value in Adcock Ingram can be unlocked in the medium term. What exactly does that mean?
Well, Adcock has got some structural issues that it's got to resolve. For example, it's got investments in India and Africa that are all making losses. It's got the BE, which is underwater, which it needs to deal with. It's got shareholder issues, which has created some degree of uncertainty surrounding the company, which needs to be dealt with. It's got factories that are under capacity and underutilized, overcapacity and underutilized, which needs to be dealt with. So there are some structural things, and they don't get fixed overnight. It's not like, you know, okay, we've got a bad employee, we'll just change the employee. It's not that. It's more complicated than that, and it is going to take some time.